So today word is do not judge. I know this is one of those words that we say we don't judge, but we end up judging, right? Like, think it of this, right? Like, when you watch a movie, whether it's just a movie or a TV show, right? Like, you get to see behind the scene what's going on. Sometimes we don't get to see it, we just see the action. They later on that they take us back of what happened, and we get to see, oh, this is why he did what he did, and the decision that he made, or the person that he became, because of this decision happened in this specific moments that shattered the way he see, or the way she see, the way she make a decision, and the way she function after that, right? That our life is the same way. People too often don't get to see behind the scene of our life that makes us to do the things that we do. Then I really truly understand, as I was reading and as I having a conversation and as I learning, and is like this really scripture in Matthew 7 1 and 2 literally stood out to me, the part where they say, do not judge that you be not judged. And for that moment that I was just wondering, and it say the same thing, like on choose, like, for with the judgment you use, that it would be, that the same judgment you use is going to be used on you, back to you. That measure that you use to judge the other person, the decision that they made, or the life they live in, or how it affected other people's life because of the decision that they made. You see the final product, but you don't get to see what refine that product. What is that the ingredient in that product? What kind of pain this person have been caused for him to even pour out, multiply pain that caused on other people, right? And we get to the point where we make this judgment because of, we have this idea of good, and we have this idea of bad, right? Because of the experience that we have. If this person respect me and love me in a different way, and this person is mistreating me and broken me and putting down on me, that we get to say this person is good but this person is bad, right? But we don't technically take a moment and understand that person, why he do the way he does, the way he speak, the way that he speak this kind of things, or maybe taking a moment like why she is the way she is. We don't do that. We living in a world that we make judgment based on the final product, not the time that it took before it even came this full product. And this in this moment, that as I understood it, in one of the scriptures that stood out to me was in John chapter 8, that when this Pharisees, that they dragged this woman out because she caught committing adultery. Though in those times that when those things happen, that committing adultery, like you're supposed to get stoned. But the part what really stood out to me is when Jesus say, he without no sin can ever go ahead and stone her. Like, if you never sinned, that go ahead and, but if you ever want, not even just like 10, or it's not even that, if you sin one time, that means that your hand is not clean. You cannot throw a stone with a dirty hand. Is your hand is clean, you can go ahead and do that. And I think sometimes when we see whatever in front of us, before we make judgment, take a moment and see, like, you might not do the exact thing that person did, right? Like, you might not say the exact thing that person did, but there is in some capacity that you did something that caused you falling short from the glory of God. And I think we forget that. We forget that our sin is, when we see somebody do something, that our sin is small and their sin is big. But in the eye of God, that everything that you do that cause you, or that distracts you from the purpose that God intended to you, or the target that you're supposed to hit, that you miss, is still the same. That either that this person beat somebody to death, and you are here gossiping about somebody else. Either or, both of you are hurting another person. You sniffing somebody's light out. You are actually breaking somebody's heart and somebody's spirit. And but we don't take it that way. We take it as like, well, I'm just lying, or maybe I'm just gossiping. I'm not out here murdering people. I'm not. But the thing is, like, it don't matter which category you put it in. It don't matter what label that you put it in. That the simple fact is, you are a sinner too. So the minute that we understood that we are a sinner, instead of that making that judgment that this person deserves this, that person deserves this, can we take a moment and look at themselves? What part of me that is still judging that person? Can we just bring it to God and say, God, this part of me, when I see things like this that cause me to judge, and there is a part of me that's still judging another human being, though that those people are created in your image, I'm still making judgment based on the knowledge that I have, and this is how I consider good, and this is how I consider bad. And these two things, can they exist in the presence of you? These two things that I am having, that I have conflict, right? That we all, and we living in a world that we have a definition of good, but the reality is the Bible always tells us that no one is good except God. And when we see that we understood that none of us are good at all. Like, our goodness is come from when we become that God created us to be, and when we represent his image, that is when we start producing in a way that we are created to produce. That's when our goodness comes. We all see it in Genesis. God said this, and he said it was good, right? And it was good. Everything that he said, that it was good. Everything that he created, he said it was good because it was functioning in a way that he have an idea to function. So that's when I understood, like, I thought that for a long period of time I was good. You know what I mean? I was a good person. Now, don't get me wrong that I have honor and love and respect God's people. But when I come to the Bible and understand that I'm not good at all, because the Bible tells me, like, there was a time when this young student was telling Jesus, like, you are a good teacher. And he told him, why don't you call me good? No one is good but the Father in heaven. So I just come to understand, it grieved me to know that I'm not good. But it's also give me a sense of hope that the minute that I step into what I have called to do, and to be honest, what I have called to do is not a specific purpose. Everybody is called to be the light. Everybody is called to be the salt in this earth. So it's not about this, I was one point that really chasing what is my purpose, but I did come to the realization that I do rather to chase the presence of God, that I want to create an environment that where he can able to do well with me. That is, for me, that is my ultimate goal, that I want to be conscious in making a decision where I can able to bring God wherever that I go. For me, it's like I stopped chasing my purpose and I start chasing the presence of God, because that is more important to me, because everything that I need, he have. Everything that I want and desire, he can give. And before that I ask for his hand, I rather to chase the heart. I want to know where you think about me. I want to know what you know about me that I do not know about myself. And this thing literally brought me back to him, saying that, God, like, this part of, even when I watch a movie, right, like, I am immediately the one who say, like, this chick is crazy. Then I had to understand this, God, like, what is the part of me that is crazy that caused me to see this woman? Because majority of the time when we see somebody, there is always going to be a reflection happen in a split second that will cause you to see there is a part of you can identify with that person. Maybe that you might not exactly the way he does it, but there is always going to be navigate to that person's doing wrong or saying wrong thing, and that cause you to say that is wrong. But that is wrong. That means that you are exposed to something that you wasn't not supposed to exposed when you decided to bite the forbidden fruit, that you have been exposed for a lot of things, and that caused you to see between the good and evil. And my question to you is, before you make that judgment and say this, the Bible say this, the Bible say that, but can you get qualified over the whatever that can that be qualified in the presence of God? Because sometimes what we know as good literally is not good in the presence of God. So it is very important to bring what you know in the presence of God, so God can able to qualify it for you, what is good and what is acceptable in his presence.